This here's the Bouse Guide to Storm Spirit. You're welcome. So, you want to play Storm Spirit like a Bouse? Well, my friend, you've come to the right place. However, first of all, you better make sure you know what you're getting yourself into when you pick Storm Spirit. This hero is more threatening than global warming, can pop up and kill enemies without warning, and is more zippity-zop-zappity on the battlefield than Bill Cosby shoopity-bopping. Now, if you still think you can handle that, keep watching. Otherwise, just go play Ricky. Before we begin, as with every hero, there are many different ways to build Storm Spirit depending on the situation, and being able to adapt to your particular game is crucial to high-level play. However, this build I'm about to show you right now is hands down the best and the only true way to play Storm Spirit like a Bouse.
Let the fun begin!
Starting off, you want to get 3 tangos, 1 health pot, 2 mantles of intelligence, and 2 ironwood branches. You can go to any lane, but preferably you want the middle lane because you want to reach level 6 and get your ultimate as fast as possible, because that's what defines Storm Spirit. You want to skill Electric Vortex at level 1 because it is a great ability that disables your target and pulls them towards you. It seems that you're so damn attractive that your opponents can't help but be stunned and pulled in. You're a sexy Bouse. Now onto the skill build in the early game. You want to get Overload at level 2, which will add extra damage and slow to one attack following the use of any of your abilities, and then Static Remnant at level 3, which basically works like dropping a little bomb. The reason you want one of every skill by level 3 is that Storm Spirit's power comes from the fact that all his skills work brilliantly together, and you need all of them to be successful. Now at level 3, you already have a decent aggressive combo. Now work on maxing out Electric Vortex first, which will increase its casting range and duration, and of course get your ultimate at level 6. Your ultimate is unlike any other, and is what makes you such a Bouse! And by Bouse, I mean ball of static electricity sexiness. Oh, and by the way, you're invincible while you're using your ultimate. So Bouse! This skill is what strikes fear into the hearts of your opponents. Onto early game items, your first item should be Power Treads. Leave them on strength and they will provide you good survivability and bonus attack speed in the early game. Afterwards, you want to get a magic wand which will use up your 2 ironwood branches and give you a method of regenerating HP and mana. Then work on making 2 null talismans which uses up your 2 mantles of intelligence, and these will give you enough stats to get you through until mid-game. Alright, in terms of early game gameplay, it's extremely important to get a good start with Storm Spirit because you have the potential to obliterate any opponent 1 versus 1 if you are ahead. Focus on farming until level 6 unless there's a guaranteed kill or gank opportunity. Now as soon as you're level 6, you will now be able to use the Storm Spirit Zippity Zop Zappity Bouse combo when engaging your opponents. Now, normal speech cannot fully express how Bouse this combo is, so I'm gonna teach it to you in rap form. You ready for this? So the first thing you do is come out of nowhere like a Bouse, pull him back like a Bouse, hit him once like a Bouse, drop a remnant like a Bouse, hit him twice like a Bouse, chase him down like a Bouse, finish him off like a Bouse, GTFO like a Bouse. Yeah, balanced breakfast, BOSS, Storm Spirit. Now, this combo is extremely deadly throughout the entire game and can kill just about any hero one-on-one. Just be prepared to use up your entire mana pool in the early game when ganking, as this combo is very mana intensive. After level 6, you should constantly be on the lookout for ganking opportunities while continuing to farm. Having a teleport scroll on you at all times will allow you to keep farming and still be able to quickly jump into another lane for a gank. I cannot stress how important it is always to have a teleport scroll, especially because Storm Spirit needs to be active in the early game. It will also help you get back to base faster to heal after a gank. Storm Spirit leads ganks in the early game because you don't even need to be close to initiate the gank. And a lot of ganks fail in the early game because the enemies retreat before your team gets there, but not with Storm Spirit. Simply Bouse in if your opponents start to retreat, and Electric Vortex an enemy hero. This will give you and your team time to catch up to the retreating enemy heroes and pick them off. Alright, now onto mid-game skills. After maxing out Electric Vortex, you want to then max out Static Remnant next, and then Overload last. Of course, getting your ultimate at levels 11 and 16. Your Bouse combo will get stronger with more levels. Moving on, the most important item you need to always have in the mid-game are teleport scrolls. You should always have 1 or 2 on you. Mobility is everything for Storm Spirit. You simply can't waste time strolling back to base to heal or slowly walking to a lane to try to gank, because your enemy will be long gone. A real Bouse knows that walking is for the weak! In the mid game, you want to start farming up Orchid of Malevolence and Lincoln's Fear. Orchid is the more offensive item and will vastly increase your attack speed, and mana pool, which is everything Storm Spirit could want. And it also gives you an amazing 2-second disable that silences and increases damage on the target. Lincoln's Fear is your defensive item. It provides great stats, survivability, and a big boost to your mana pool. But more importantly, its passive effect can block one targeted spell cast on you, and can make you a lot less vulnerable to disables. This effect has a 20-second cooldown. I like to go Orchid first because playing aggressively is what Storm Spirit does best, but this will make you more open to disables. This just means that you have to be more aware and smarter about engaging. I will go over some strategies for smart engaging in the next section. Alright, now onto mid-game gameplay. Keep teleport scrolls with you at all times and be on the lookout for isolated heroes that you can jump on while continuing to farm. Storm Spirit should be actively ganking throughout the mid-game, but you need to be smart about engaging to avoid being disabled and killed. Now, if an enemy is alone and has no disables, you can drop some Bouse on that easy! If an enemy is alone but has disables, you can still drop some Bouse on that, but he might get away unless you have Orchid or a teammate to help you. If a team fight is looming in the mid-game, go towards it and get ready to fight, but stay a short distance away and stay out of sight. You don't want to be the one to initiate a team fight or be in the fight the moment it starts, because you are a high priority target that your enemies want to disable and kill first. It's cause they're jealous of your Bouse status! So simply stay close to the fight, but just out of sight. The moment to strike is right after the first wave of spells are cast. Then, you ball lightning in and unleash your combo on your opponents one by one. This is so that you don't get disabled in the first wave of enemy spells and become useless. Your entire potential lies in your spells and mobility. Remember that a stunned, silenced, or out of mana Storm Spirit is a dead Storm Spirit. During the fight, disable spellcasters with Orchid or Electric Vortex and focus down heroes with your combo one at a time. If you find yourself dropping low, simply ball lightning away. Now, you're going to be using up a lot of mana during team fights, so you need to be smart about allocating mana. Now, PhD Bouses have come up with a law called the Bouses Law for Storm Spirit. It states that you should use about 1/4 of your mana to enter the fight, 2/4 of your mana during the fight, and the last 1/4 of your mana to leave the fight. Alright, now on to late game items. At this point, you have an option. You could look to get a Black King Bar if you're getting overwhelmed with disables, or a Ginsu's Scythe of Vice, which will give you essentially unlimited mana to play around with and another amazing disable. Either option is great, and it just depends on your game which one is more effective. Now on to late game gameplay. You have an absurd amount of mana to use, so use it. Be very active around the map, farming the jungle and positioning yourself for team fights. Still employ the same general strategy when entering team fights. Remember that you do not need to be in the fight the moment it starts. Instead, jump in right after the fight begins and unleash your attacks. Fashionably late Bouse! You can take on any kind of hero, so target high priority enemy supports, or go after the enemy carry with your arsenal of disables. If you have been keeping ahead, you will be nearly unstoppable. Also, remember, never be still for too long in a team fight late game. You have enough mana to zip around short distances plenty of times. Now, this does 3 important things. 1, it charges your overload ability. 2, it makes you much harder to kill since you can dodge attacks and are invincible while in ball form. And 3, most importantly, it disrupts and confuses your enemies in team fights, which is a metagame factor that should never be underestimated. Bouse used confusion. Enemy team is confused. Enemy team used fail sauce. Enemy team hurt itself in its confusion. Enemy team fainted. GG, son. Alright, now that's it for this Bouse guide to Storm Spirit. What are you still doing here? Hurry up and go play Storm Spirit before somebody else does, and pwn whatever hero you have to end up playing. And on a real note, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and find it both helpful and entertaining. As always, we've got some testimonials from real internet people from the last boss guide to Razor. Also, I've added a couple new icons to the boss profile icon pack that you can find in the video description. And if you're down to show some support, you have no idea how much I love it when I go on Dota 2 and I see people using those icons. And as always, if you like this and want to see more, show some love by liking, commenting, maybe sharing your own success or failure stories with the guide, and of course, subscribing.